Shih Tzus melt hearts effortlessly with their sweet faces, soft coats, and those big round eyes that seem to understand you better than anyone else. They are gentle, loving, and deeply attached to their humans, which is exactly why they rely on us so much, sometimes more than we realize. But behind all that cuteness lies a difficult truth. The everyday habits you think are harmless, the little routines you repeat without a second thought, may actually be causing them pain, stress, or long-term damage without you ever knowing. From the way you walk them, lift them, let them jump, groom them, feed them, or adjust their routine. Every tiny action can affect their physical health or emotional comfort in ways that Shih Tzus simply cannot communicate. And the most surprising part is that almost none of these mistakes come from neglect. They come from love given in the wrong way, from trying to care for them without understanding how fragile their bodies and emotions truly are. That's why it's so important to learn the common habits Shih Tzu owners get wrong. Because once you understand these silent risks, you can protect your little companion with more awareness, more gentleness, and the kind of care they truly deserve. A Shih Tzu is a small, gentle, and irresistibly soft-looking dog, and that appearance often misleads people into thinking they are sturdy like bigger breeds, when the truth is completely the opposite, especially when it comes to the structure of their neck and trachea. Many Shih Tzu owners, particularly first-time ones, choose a collar out of habit, or because they believe it is quick and convenient for attaching a leash. But this one simple choice is actually one of the most quietly harmful mistakes you can make for this breed. A Shih Tzu's trachea is naturally small, delicate, and weak. And even a light amount of pressure can cause damage you cannot see immediately, yet it accumulates over time into something far more serious. When you take them outside and the collar tightens around their fragile neck with every sudden pull, every excited twist of their head, or even each deep inhale when they get too stimulated, all of that force goes directly to their most vulnerable spot, and the consequences can arrive sooner than you expect. Imagine a moment when your Shih Tzu suddenly spots a bird on the fence or a falling leaf drifting across the yard, and instantly launches toward it with the unfiltered excitement this lively little breed is known for. In a fraction of a second, the leash snaps tight, the collar cinches down, and their soft trachea is squeezed between the pressure of the collar and the momentum of their entire body. Even though it lasts only a few seconds, the repeated impact of moments like this can lead to chronic coughing, wheezing, episodes of breathlessness, or even the early stages of tracheal collapse, a condition that makes a dog stretch its neck forward desperately for air while producing a harsh, horn-like honking sound every time it tries to breathe. These sounds are not quirky or cute. They are distress signals from a trachea that is being damaged. One of the most common reactions Shih Tzus develop when their neck is irritated is reverse sneezing, a frightening fit that sounds like rapid, forceful inward snorting and can last for many long seconds, often leaving owners panicked and convinced their dog cannot breathe. In reality, the majority of these episodes are triggered by irritation to the neck or trachea, and the collar is one of the leading causes. For Shih Tzus, who already have naturally weak airways, each episode is not only uncomfortable but alarming, making them freeze, tremble, stop everything they're doing, and look for a place to hide. If these episodes continue, they can accelerate the progression of tracheal collapse, and once the condition becomes severe, a Shih Tzu may require lifelong medication or even surgery to breathe comfortably again. The difficulty is that many owners never realize the collar is the root of the problem. When a Shih Tzu coughs softly, they assume it is due to the weather. When it wheezes at night, they assume hair is stuck near the nose. When it suddenly reverse sneezes, they assume it is just a normal flat-faced dog thing. But with careful observation, all of these behaviors can often be traced back to one small but harmful habit using a collar instead of a harness. A harness, on the other hand, distributes pressure across the chest and shoulders areas that are far stronger and safer than the neck. When you attach a leash to a harness, any sudden pull is spread over the whole upper body, removing strain from the trachea entirely. This makes walking significantly more comfortable for a Shih Tzu, preventing the abrupt coughing or gasping that happens when they are accidentally jerked by the leash, especially if they have the excitable habit of pulling forward whenever something catches their attention. Another major benefit of a harness is improved control. Shih Tzus love sniffing the ground, circling around your legs, and zigzagging with curiosity. And a harness allows all that without compromising their airway. Every sudden movement becomes a softer, safer motion. For Shih Tzus with underlying conditions like allergies, chronic nasal irritation, or any history of respiratory issues, switching to a harness is practically a life-saving rule. With this small change, coughing often decreases dramatically, their breathing becomes smoother, and reverse sneezing episodes become far less frequent. Owners quickly notice that their dogs can walk longer without discomfort, breathe more evenly, and play more freely because they are no longer being choked by the collar without realizing it. If you've ever thought a collar was the quick, neat, and stylish choice, imagine someone grabbing you by the collar of your shirt and yanking you backward every time you take a step forward. That is exactly what a Shih Tzu experiences each day. A single small change, switching from a collar to a proper harness, can remove a lifetime of potential airway problems and give your Shih Tzu a safer, happier, healthier walk every single day. Shih Tzus are a breed with a small, expressive face covered in long, silky hair that frames their eyes, nose, and mouth in the most endearing way, making them look like living dolls. Yet this very feature demands far more physical handling than many other breeds. Their eyes water easily, creating tear stains that must be cleaned regularly. Their short, low-set nose traps dust and debris, and their long, floppy ears provide the perfect warm environment for moisture and bacteria to build up. But if a Shih Tzu is not taught from puppyhood to accept touches on their feet, ears, face, or mouth, or to tolerate routine tasks such as wiping their eyes or brushing the hair around their muzzle, they grow up seeing all of these essential grooming actions as intrusive and threatening, responding with stress, fear, and defensive behavior even when it comes from the person they trust most. A Shih Tzu that has not been conditioned to handling early on will turn basic care into a struggle. Trimming nails, bathing, untangling knots, or brushing the face become battles instead of bonding moments. Such a dog may pull its paw away the moment you touch it, jerk its head violently when you try to wipe the eyes, or twist its body frantically as you brush the hair around the face or clear tangles from the ears. These grooming tasks, which should be gentle and soothing, become exhausting and nerve-wracking for both dog and owner. And as the fear grows, the Shih Tzu begins associating grooming with panic rather than comfort, making each session progressively more difficult. Owners often misunderstand and assume the dog is being stubborn or difficult, when in reality it is reacting to something it was simply never taught to accept calmly. Some Shih Tzus become so overwhelmed that just seeing grooming tools, a pair of scissors, a nail clipper, a brush, or even a simple eye wipe cloth sends them hiding under furniture, trembling and barking in distress. Such reactions are not only emotionally painful for the dog, but can also cause physical harm. A Shih Tzu that thrashes during nail trimming may crack or tear a nail, cut the skin, or injure itself while trying to escape. Many dogs even experience increased panting, wheezing, or reverse sneezing due to the intense anxiety triggered by forced grooming, especially those with naturally sensitive airways. This is why early handling is absolutely crucial, because a Shih Tzu puppy is like a blank canvas, and every gentle experience you introduce becomes a natural part of life as they grow. You can begin with small, simple actions each day, lightly touching the paws, massaging the ears, briefly opening the mouth to check the teeth, wiping the tear stains with a warm cloth, or brushing a few strokes on the face. After each attempt, reward them with a small treat or soft praise so they associate human touch with something pleasant. When these actions are repeated consistently in a calm setting, the puppy learns to relax, stand still, and even enjoy being groomed. The best time to practice handling is after playtime, when their energy is lower and their body is more receptive to soft, steady interactions. Creating a peaceful environment with gentle music or a quiet room can transform grooming into a bonding ritual rather than a stressful confrontation. With early and regular handling, grooming shifts from a fearful struggle into a comforting routine, strengthening trust, boosting confidence, and allowing you to care for your Shih Tzu with ease over the course of their entire life. Shih Tzus may look sturdy, round, and full of confidence, but their bone structure tells a completely different story. Despite their lively personality, their short legs, tiny joints, and naturally delicate skeletal system make them far more vulnerable to injury than most owners realize. Even jumps that seem harmless, like hopping off a sofa, stepping down from a bed, or leaping off a low chair can create an impact far greater than their small bodies are built to handle. When a Shih Tzu jumps down, the entire weight of its body lands heavily on the front legs, forcing the joints to absorb a sudden shock that they were never designed for. A single landing can cause the kneecap to slip out of place, leading to the well-known issue of luxating patella, which brings pain, limping, and long-term joint degeneration if it happens repeatedly. Beyond the knees, their spine is also at risk. Shih Tzus have a naturally curved back, and their front-heavy build puts additional pressure on the discs every time they jump or land with force. Over time, the repeated impact of daily jumps can lead to chronic back pain, early arthritis, or even intervertebral disc disease, a serious condition where the damaged disc presses on the spinal cord, causing intense pain and difficulty standing or walking. Owners often mistake the early warning signs: a Shih Tzu that hesitates before getting up, stretches excessively, avoids stairs, or moves stiffly after resting is often experiencing discomfort from cumulative micro-injuries caused by jumping. The solution is simple, yet profoundly protective. Never allow your Shih Tzu to jump down on its own, no matter how low the height may seem. Use pet stairs or a small ramp to let them descend safely, or lift them gently whenever possible. This small adjustment dramatically reduces the strain on their joints and spine, preventing injuries that often require months of treatment to heal. Protecting their fragile frame is not just about avoiding accidents. It is about giving your Shih Tzu the safest, most comfortable life possible. Shih Tzus are creatures of habit in the truest sense of the phrase, and their emotional stability depends heavily on the reliability of the routines they follow each day, which means that even the smallest change in their schedule can ripple through their mind and body in ways that many owners do not anticipate. A shift in mealtime by what seems like only a short period, a sudden switch in the type of food, or even something as simple as a different person feeding them can unsettle their sense of security, because routine is the structure through which a Shih Tzu understands the world. When that structure wobbles, they often react with stress that may not appear dramatic at first, but slowly reveals itself through subtle signs such as pacing, whining, or hiding. And for many Shih Tzus, this emotional disruption quickly becomes physical, leading to an upset stomach, soft stools, or complete refusal to eat. Their digestive system is delicate, and stress acts like a trigger that throws everything off balance, creating a cycle where anxiety affects digestion and poor digestion increases anxiety, especially when changes happen suddenly and without time for them to adapt. For a Shih Tzu, predictability is comfort, and comfort is safety. So the moment their internal rhythm is interrupted, their instinct is to protect themselves by withdrawing from the things they are unsure about, including food. Owners often misunderstand this reaction, assuming the dog is being picky or acting strange, when in reality it is simply struggling to regain a sense of control in a world that suddenly feels unpredictable. The solution lies not in forcing them to adjust instantly, but in giving their sensitive nature the gradual transition it needs, maintaining a stable routine for meals, walks, playtime, and bedtime creates a foundation of emotional security. And any necessary changes should be introduced slowly over the course of 7 days, allowing their body and mind to adapt one step at a time. With consistency and patience, the Shih Tzu's stress fades, their digestion settles, and their confidence returns, proving that for this small breed, routine is not a preference. It is a form of love. Shih Tzus are extraordinarily sensitive little souls, far more emotionally delicate than their confident posture or bright eyes might suggest. And this sensitivity means that harsh tones, raised voices, or angry expressions affect them in ways most owners never fully realize. A single scolding, even one spoken out of frustration rather than true anger, can pierce straight through their sense of safety, leaving them confused, frightened, and unsure of what they did wrong. Because Shih Tzus do not interpret yelling the way humans do. They do not connect your tone to their behavior. They only feel the sudden shift in your energy, the tension in your voice, and the disappointment directed toward them. Instead of learning a lesson, their minds retreat inward, and their little bodies respond with visible signs of emotional distress. They shrink into themselves, lower their head, tuck their tail tightly under their body, tremble uncontrollably, or run to the nearest hiding spot in an attempt to escape the unfamiliar intensity of your anger. Over time, repeated scolding can create deeper behavioral issues. Not because the dog becomes stubborn, but because the stress accumulates silently, eroding their confidence and making them more reactive, more anxious, and more prone to destructive behaviors. A Shih Tzu that feels unsafe may start chewing furniture, scratching doors, barking excessively, or refusing to come when called. Not as an act of defiance, but as a coping mechanism to release tension they cannot understand or articulate. Their emotional world is fragile, shaped by trust and predictability. And the moment that trust is shaken, their entire sense of security collapses. The real solution lies in gentle guidance rather than punishment, redirecting unwanted behavior with calm consistency. Rewarding good choices immediately and building new habits through positive reinforcement allow a Shih Tzu to learn without fear clouding their mind. When you replace scolding with patience and clarity, their confidence grows instead of shrinking, and the bond between you becomes stronger, safer, and far more loving. For a Shih Tzu, kindness is not optional. It is the language they learn best.